Greetings and welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to 2023 and episode 334 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly gaming podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander, and I'm joined by the one and only Open Critic Head-to-Head 2022 champion. I don't remember which one I was going to say there. David Moody.
Yeah.
We swapped him.
We swapped him and lost the title. We just went.
We swapped him. We swapped him.
Swapped him around and everything like that. And like I said, gave a couple of flukes to someone else. But it's all good, yeah. It's all good. Welcome back, everyone. It's 2023 now.
Yay.
What's different? I got a hat. That's different.
Pikachu hat. I have a new light.
And we're going next person.
And Vitz is here. Because
Hello,
we're also
everybody.
joined, I'm pointing in the right direction, we're also joined by the wonderful Vitz Patel.
Oh, thank you very much. You're far too kind, Amy.
For 2 weeks running.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong there. You are far too kind, Damien.
Am I? Oh.
Well, we'll see how kind you
Shut
are
up,
to get
Moody.
through this list.
Yeah. Told you.
I told him.
I told him. How's everybody doing?
You're doing great. It's great to be back. Always a fun time when I come on Words About Games.
Oh, God. Wait till, give it an hour. I demand a recount. Stop the vote. Stop the vote.
Stop the vote. Stop the vote. Stop the vote now.
Mm-hmm.
We've won. It's all good.
Everybody knows you have to stop the vote now. All the votes are in. Everybody voted for me.
It hasn't felt like a long break, but it's been a longer break than we normally take. Because
Theoretically, yeah, we've covered the next 2 weeks of podcasts.
it's Friday. You know what that means?
What?
We moved the podcast. No reason.
Amy's
we just
fault.
felt like it. I'm on the other side.
Amy's fault.
That's better. It wasn't my fault.
Vitz's fault.
Vitz's fault. Vitz's fault. It was Vitz's fault. We're doing the Words About Games podcast on Fridays from now on. Have fun with that. But it gave us an extra 5 days off. But then we recorded an episode on Sunday when we normally would have done. But that one goes out next week. It's the Fantasy Critic Draft that we had to do early because the video game industry has no chill, and games were going to start coming out.
Coming out and getting
sooner.
delayed. And getting delayed.
One is
And getting
out.
delayed.
The first game that comes out this year, the first quote unquote, I guess, big franchise game is out now. So by the
That's
time you
true.
listen to this podcast, it's out now.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah. Next year, I'm expecting 2024's games to start coming out in 2023. Reverse
We came
delay.
out at midnight on New Year's Day.
Somebody-
So we're 2024. Dude, we're all drunk.
I'm streaming Sea of Thieves again. What's going on? Why's
And I'm
everybody
asleep.
shouting at me about Hollow Knight?
Oh, bless you.
I know. This is the year. It's my year.
year.
It has to be, right? It has to
My
be.
year for Hollow Knight.
Apparently, between now and the next 6 months, going off what Xbox showed us at E3 last year, they said next 12 months is what's coming. So it's between now and the end of June.
There's a showcase in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, I heard that. That's interesting.
That's Hollow Knight. That's Hollow Knight's time to shine, baby. If Hollow Knight isn't there, you're gonna need to put me on some kind of depression watch. Like somebody needs. If Hollow Knight doesn't turn up at the Xbox showcase, someone needs to come and check on me.
I'll FaceTime Farewell and say, Farewell,
Yeah,
you know what to do.
yeah. Just go and knock on her. Just make sure she's okay. Take ice. Tell him to bring ice cream.
Yeah. Bring ice cream and tell her it's going to be okay.
Bring ice cream and a Hollow Knight plushie.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I didn't do anything. In the break. I beat Demon Souls.
That's not doing
That
anything.
counts
That's
as
doing
doing
that.
something,
There you go.
right? Like I actually played games because there's a joke. The running joke has been we always take a break, and then we come back, and then we do Game of the Year, and the break is to have a break, but also like play some games to catch up. But the running joke for the last couple of years has been we've never done that.
Not at all.
But this year, I did that.
Yeah.
And
I did as well. I know.
It's good, right? We actually
We're
did the thing
Amy.
we said we were going to do. We've thrown chaos into the works by doing the thing we said we were going to do.
Yeah.
There you go.
What is 2023 going to be? Jesus.
That's it. I'm not sure if anybody fought chaos, but we definitely brought the chaos. That what happened.
I didn't ever fought chaos. No, I skipped that. Straight skip on that game. I at midnight on New Year's, like I fired myself out of a cannon in Sea of Thieves and shouting "Fuck you, 2022" while Ryan fired fireworks in the air.
Just so you know, I'm still waiting for that video.
Oh yeah. I got distracted. I'll tell you about it later. On the night, and then after that, I just forgot because that's what I do. I forget things. I drink energy drinks and I forget things. What's everybody else been up to for the last 3 weeks?
Oh yes, 3 weeks ago, and not more than that.
That was the last time we did a podcast. Moody and Joe were arguing about Avatar while I hid under the desk. That is not a joke. Go back and watch the episode. I was under the desk.
So I've been barreling through Final Fantasy XIV, going through the Endwalker expansion, which is the latest one. So I'm now officially up to date with main story quest. So that's good. It only took me 280 hours to get there.
I was going to ask.
So yeah, we started playing in August of last year. So I think we've done okay. But yeah, it's definitely got its hooks in me, and I'm looking forward to playing the new patch, which had just come out. So yeah, that's been my kind of break. We played a few puzzle games as well. Got into Subliminal. A little Stanley Parable as well. The first time for me going through that game. So yeah, all good.
2 good games.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. See, that thing you just said about Final Fantasy XIV, Moody, that's why I've never played it.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Something like that, yeah, definitely.
It's either you play Final Fantasy XIV or you play any other games.
Yeah.
Plural. It's
right.
One or the other.
It reminds me of when Phil came up to me and said, "Oh, me and Erica have started watching Grey's Anatomy."
So fucking going.
And you never saw them.
They are still going.
That's actually true. We haven't seen them since.
I saw Phil.
I haven't.
I saw.
You work with him.
I saw Phil and everybody else yesterday.
Did he finish his conversations with a small diatribe, like speaking to himself in the third person, like they do on Grey's Anatomy?
No, he didn't do that.
That's a shame.
It finished with a small child asking me, "Why does she have blue hair?" Because I dyed it. What's dyeing? And I just went, "Have a nice time. Bye."
Yeah.
No, you see, it's because I'm awesome.
There you go.
That's why.
And
also because it's Joe Medforce, $1.7 billion at the worldwide box office Avatar 2, a film that you say should have had an hour and a half cut off. Clearly the audience have told you to fuck right off, motherfucker, because it's $1.7 billion. It's going to be a $2 billion movie. Amy, you can return. I'm going to stop. It's all right. Fuck you, Joe Murphy.
You're not going to start a fight with Vitz, right?
No, I like Vitz.
Okay, wait. Whoa.
You fell into their trap.
The force is not with you because I took it.
Wow.
I don't know. Like Christmas, I came up and saw a family. I even saw you and me.
You did? And we went to the toy shop again.
Yes, we did. We didn't buy anything. My partner did, but we didn't.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I was epically broke.
That's true. Yeah.
I was going to say, was it an exercise in self-restraint, or was it externally factored?
It wasn't an exercise in restraint. Lunch definitely wasn't an exercise in restraint either. Good God.
Tell me about it. Fucking hell. I
just want to point out, I didn't order a damn thing. Like,
neither did I.
We left the order in to shall we say, unnamed third party.
Right.
And then Moody proved he was the most generous man who ever set foot in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Adding a tip on top of a tip. It's all coming back to him now.
Worst thing is the service weren't great either.
It was all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was funny that all of mine, because it was tapas, so they bring it out when it's ready. And it was funny that like all of the meat dishes, my dishes, all came out. So I'd finished eating before they'd even gotten anything to eat.
You did that thing where you're just waiting for everybody else's plates to arrive, like drumming your fingers on the table, saying, "Come on, come on, come on."
No, I just chowed down.
There you go.
Yeah, she just chowed down.
Chorizo sausage on a fork in one hand and a wing in the other hand. I was having a great time.
Dual wielding, gotta love it.
Yeah, you got to dual wield in those situations.
Yeah. Came see family. Sorry, Amy. It was really canny. Came back and back at work, chilling, cracking on, doing what needs to be done.
Yeah. Woo.
Woo.
You have to come up again. Come to the toy shop. We'll go to the toy shop when I have money, and then I'll buy some stuff.
When you buy lunch this time, huh?
No. Well, depends where we go. If we go to the same place, no. Can I get paid that much? Well, I've never seen anyone spend that much on lunch before.
I understand if it was like a date night with me and the missus.
Yeah, but it was. Yeah, I mean,
it was not a date night.
No, I don't think you've envisaged ever having a date night with me just sat in the corner eating chicken wings.
Yeah,
bit of a weird date, right?
It was a bit weird, yeah.
Candlelight, maybe some wine, some vegan,
whatever.
Yeah. And you're just like, you're having a nice time. There's just me in the background, like, good wings.
Maybe I need to make some chicken wings sometime. As Lauren will attest, apparently my chicken wings are fire. So,
all right, 100%. Well, it's done. Right, you come from your new house, which I assume is just around the corner.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then just come pick me up, and then we'll have some wings.
No, I'll cook some wings.
Sorted.
That's where it's at.
Hell yeah. All right. I'm getting hungry again, so we're going to start the podcast before this food talk.
Let's get into it. The main event, Amy.
It's the Words About Games podcast, blah, blah, blah. I'm writing a new intro. You'll see it in 2 weeks. This week, as Moody lowers himself to the ground, it's Game of the Year podcast. And normally what that means is it's just two Pikachu ears sticking up on the camera.
Rise, Pikachu.
Right there. Stop it. Right there. That's perfect. Pika. All right. It's Game of the Year time on the podcast. And you might be thinking, why is Vitz here? And the number one reason why Vitz here is because he's awesome and we like having him around. Oh. But the number two reason is we're doing Game of the Year a little bit differently this year than we've done in previous years, where instead of me and Booty going backwards and forwards giving our list of Game of the Year, we each gave Vitz our top 10 games of the year.
You sure did.
And then he went and made a list that we haven't seen and we don't know about. And basically, I'm going to hand over control of the podcast to Vitz while he counts down our Game of the Year list, and we talk about whatever games come up. Because I don't know what's on this list.
No, I do have to say, Amy, I did have to prize that list out of your hands. You were in 2 months as to what to hand the list over by the end of it.
I believe my exact words were, take it off me, Vitz.
Yes.
If I could have had you physically take the list off of my phone, that probably would have been for the best. It turns out there's a lot more pressure on the order when it's like being this combined thing, because it's like, ooh, You know, like what order do I actually put these in? Whereas in years past, I've just been like, yeah, the order doesn't really matter. As long as it's vaguely in the right order, it's fine.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's still fine. So, for those of you still in the know or wanting to know kind of thing, so for every position in the top 10, they were given a weighted score. And then both lists were given to me, and I've done some tabulations and all that good stuff, and created a combined list. So, if we're all ready, let's get into the Words About Games Game of the Year. At number 10, with 2 points on the board, we have Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, that was
which
me.
I believe, yeah. Tell us a little bit about this game.
That's not a moody game.
That's not a moody game.
That's not a moody game. I think you watched me stream it.
In fact, it might not be a Vitz game either, so that's another game that I picked up over the.
There might be a lot of games on here that might be none of us games.
Yeah, I don't know that there's going to be much crossover. But no, the Stanley Parable was awesome. And like I always thought, because they released the game fucking when The Last of Us came out, and they made a big joke about that. And then it was like, cool. It's a really like interesting, inventive, really well designed comedy game that they're never going to be able to like. You can't make a sequel of the Stanley Parable. It's just not possible. Mm-hmm. So then they were like, "Oh, we're going to make a remaster," and I was like, "Cool, it's going to be a remaster." And then we're going to put some new content in it, and I was like, "Oh, it's going to have some new content in it." And like literally, it's not a spoiler to say this. Like you play through the Stanley Parable a couple of times, and then there's a door that opens, and it says "new content" this way, and there's like an arrow and stuff, and you go, "Okay, cool, I'll go in here." And like they made a sequel of the Stanley Parable.
They did.
And I was like, how did they do this?
For my experience with this game, so I'm quite a fan of puzzle games. Like, so I re-binged going through Portal and Portal 2. So I'm lucky enough to have a card that does all the fancy RTX stuff. So I was able to do Portal and RTX, and then I was like, okay, let's get Superliminal and let's get Stanley Parable. I've heard amazing things about this game, and I was like, all right, all into puzzles, about to adjust the environments with the environments and all the rest of it. And then it's like, okay, so it's how good are you listening to directions, narration kind of thing, and how often do you want to go off the beaten path, or will your crazy brain allow you to go off the beaten path, or will you just follow the voices behind you? So, yeah.
How many different ways can you find to ignore the instructions that you're given? And what wild things will happen? Yeah. So the entire game in Ultra Deluxe, the entire like original game is in there, so you can play through the whole original game, and then like there's an entire other game, and then the extra content, which is separate from both. I don't want to talk about like how there's a sequel in here. Just go and play it. It's fucking great. 100%. If you love the Stanley Parable, you're gonna love it. I loved it.
No, 100%. Okay then. So let's move it on to number 9, Road Warden and Return to Monkey Island. Our first tie of the evening, with 3 points. So Road Warden. I think, Amy, if you go first, then maybe we can talk about Return to Monkey Island.
Yeah, I tried Return to Monkey Island. I played like 30 minutes of it. And then I was like, it's not a bad game, but it just wasn't in the mood for it. But I played Road Warden, and that's a text-based RPG. If you imagine an RPG, but without the gameplay or the graphics of it, it's really good. It's really well written, which it needs to be, because it's basically a novel. You're basically playing a novel where you get to make a bunch of choices. It's like a fantasy world where you play a road warden, and what that means is like, you get sent out from the city, and there's like a forest full of monsters and a load of settlements, and you just wander around and you just do shit for people. And that's the game. Like, you wander around the road, and there's survival mechanics, and you need to not die or starve or any of that stuff. But like, it's very much focused on the stories that you like can wander into. Like, you go into it and you're like, I'm the road warden, I'm here to help, and then like you get like a quest which is like, hey, maybe you should see what happened to the previous road warden because he kind of disappeared. And you're like, okay, maybe I'll just like do that. That's like your vague sort of like direction thing. And also, don't go into the middle of the forest. It's very dangerous.
But a mystery and intrigue. What's not to love?
And then like within like an hour, you've got this massive quest log full of stuff, and you've only got 40 days before you have to go back to the city. So there's like a time limit.
Right, okay.
on like what you could do, and like traveling takes time, and then you've got to rest and do all this other stuff. And it quickly becomes apparent that I'm not going to be able to do all these quests for all these people. Oh, damn.
That brings on a whole new level of anxiety of
right. And it's like, this woman gave me these copper pipes to like put up around the forest, but like I'm starving to death, and these copper pipes are worth a few coins. Should I sell this thing?
That's a few loaves of bread for sure.
Sell these. Get some rations. But no, it's really good. It's really engaging. It's really like sort of like you always feel like you're just on the edge. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like you play a survival horror game and you always feel like you've killed the boss with like one bullet left, and you're like, holy shit. Like Road Warden has that similar thing where it's like you always feel like you're just on the edge of like completely failing, and then you get your rest, or you get your food, or you heal yourself, or you run away from the wolf that's trying to tear you to pieces. It's really good, and really, really engaging with really amazing writing, and that's why it's on my list.
Moody, tell us all about Return to Monkey Island.
Return to Monkey Island is obviously the sequel to one of the Monkey Island games. Don't know which one. I'm a fan of the Monkey Island games. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm a fan of the Monkey Island games. Guybrush, World, whatever his name is.
Threepwood.
Very difficult. Threepwood, that's it. Trying to do the quest that he's been trying to do ever since the first game came out, basically, to find out what is the mystery of Monkey Island, and that's what he's trying to do here. Zombie pirate LeChuck is back, and he's creating a team, and he's going to try and find out. It's like basically those two arch enemies, and they're fighting it over to try and find out what is the legend and everything. The visuals I thought were visually stunning. I know it was a very divisive thing for a lot of people when it first came out. I'll say this right now: you're fucking stupid. The score I thought was really good. It was quirky. It was fun for the game that they were doing. I think I enjoyed the jokes. It was a very funny game for myself. It was very slapstick. It was like it knew what it was. You know, like it was a game that just knew what it was. No one knew what it was going for, and it just worked for me. I saw some divisiveness when it came to the ending. I thought the ending kind of worked for me. But I also understand why people may not think it works for them. But no, I kind of enjoyed it, and it really, really worked. Characters really well flushed out. Guybrush, LeChuck, Elena, and everyone else. I think the art style has improved even better since the original. That's why I think why I think everyone's stupid when it comes to the opinions of it. But no, yeah, I think it's really, really good, and I like the story. Like he's telling a story to his child, and it's really, really well done. I thought, and it's just really good.
So, as a point-and-click adventure, is it any less obtuse than previous kind of legendary point-and-click adventures in terms of, say, something like Grim Fandango? It wasn't always clear that the particular items would combine to make whatever it is you need to proceed, kind of thing. Is this any clearer in that sense, or is it still?
They have a mechanic in the game which you can use to help you. Which it kind of helped me a lot when it came to it. Some of the mysteries and everything like that were a bit pain in the backside for me. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to use this just to give me that clue what I need. And it helped me. It was my choice to go any further, to just find out straight away, you know, or try to figure it out and everything. Sure. And they give you that option. I think there's an option in the game that you can knock it off and just go full thing. I can't fully remember though.
There's someone who just played it. There's like a difficulty adjustment thing you can do in the menu for the puzzles.
Yeah, and like it gives you the I just really like that thing because it was very accessible. Like you could play it however you wanted to. It's like the thing I've always been going on with FromSoft games. Let people play how they wanted to. Fuck what everyone says about difficulties and all like that. Just like put it in for accessibility. It's great for accessibility, and you'll get more money. And I think this helped me as well when it comes to like things I can get. If I get irritated, I can get irritated really easy sometimes, and that gets me annoyed, and then I lose my mind. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, I need to. And
you need to be in a headspace to enjoy it.
Yeah. And this game helped me, and this game helped me, and the clues options helped me as well. So it kept me on track and kept me enjoying the game. I never felt like it was intrusive for me, or anything. It was my choice if I wanted to use it in everything. So I really enjoyed this game. It worked really well.
Great stuff. Okay, thanks, Ian.
Let's
move on.
One on my list. So this is going really well.
Let's move on to number 8, Norco. And As Dusk Falls, we have yet another tie. Amy, tell us all about Norco.
I've played both of these games, though.
There we go.
Norco
I'm
is...
coming with 4 points each.
Norco, yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of ties from me and Moody having just not played very many games. I'm just realizing now how you've done the list. I'm like, okay, I approve of this. more of my children are going to be in this list, and I'm happy about that. Norco, it's a point-and-click game. It's very much like Monkey Island, but like on the opposite end of the spectrum, where like Monkey Island was a comedy game.
Yeah,
like Norco is a very like there's definitely like funny moments and it's very surreal at times, but like it's very much a serious game. Set in the near future cyberpunk end stage capitalist dystopia of Norco, which is a place somewhere in America, which has completely abandoned me in this moment. But I think that was his greatest strength, was the place, the setting. Like I had people, because this was when I did. I played this when I still did like separate video reviews, and I had people in my comments talking about how they were from, because it's like the swamps of Louisiana, in Norco, and I had people who were like from like that area just talking about like how much, because I'd mentioned in my review, I was like, man, this place is like so like well put together and well realized. Like it makes you feel like a real place, even though it's like even though there's like robot Santas and druggies like have taken over the shopping mall. Like there's definitely a fictional element to it, as far as I'm aware. Unless there's some shit going on in the swamps of Louisiana that I don't know about. But like I mentioned that in the review, and I had people who were like from the area saying like, no, this is like this is what it's like. Like they've really captured the spirit of this place. And it uses that to tell just a really good, really heartfelt story about a bunch of different themes. Like it's not just like capitalism is bad and is going to kill us all. Like that is the one major theme, but it's also about a mother and a daughter, and like that estranged relationship, and some other stuff. No spoilers, but you also get a cool robot companion that follows you around for the game.
Always helps.
And she's really cool, and you can beat a toy monkey in a staring contest. So.
Okay, great. I'm glad you finished that sentence, because you can beat a monkey, and I was like, oh no,
you can beat a monkey. you can do some fucked up things in this game, but I don't think a fist fought a monkey.
Okay, great stuff. Midi, tell us your thoughts about As Dusk Falls.
As Dusk Falls, I have to be transparent that I haven't fully completed yet, but it's a game that I've completely got absorbed in. I was texting Amy about it when I was playing it, and I was just like, this game is... Why didn't I not play this earlier?
It's so good, right?
Yeah, the characters, the writing is absolutely brilliant. And I love that it's just a simplistic game too, where you are just picking the choices, nothing more, nothing else. And that's just like right up my alley when it comes to like just, because I'm not the like gameplay. I think gameplay I'll always say is king and everything like that, but that can also get superseded quite easily if the story is just absolutely fantastic. I go most Naughty Dog games. Naughty Dog games, gameplay, a good gameplay, but the story is the thing you go for. Yeah, it's solid. Yeah, it is always solid. It's never fantastic, over the top, brilliant, everyone praising it. It's always that solid, but you're there for the characters and story. This was the same thing for me. It's characters, it's story. I'm loving it so far, and I cannot wait to finish this. I'm not far from the end, I believe, and I'm just cannot wait. Like it's just such a good story. It's such great characters, so well brought out, and just you sympathize for all of them in some unique way, and I really enjoy that. And if you make me sympathize, even if some of them are villains.
Yeah,
that makes it even better, because if you can see the villain's point of view, you go, I may not agree with you, but you're like,
no,
I understand to a certain point. But yeah, I really enjoyed. I'm really enjoying this game.
The art style of As Dusk Falls with the kind of watercolor painting aspect of it is,
I love it,
beautiful as well,
breathtaking.
And to your point about it not being all about gameplay, I think it's a title where you can bring people in who aren't engrossed in traditional style of video games as well, because there is less of that interactability, and it's not like a twitch shooter or anything like that. So there's no an inherent kind of skills of knowing you're around a controller or a keyboard or mouse, that kind of thing, and they can have just as much as input. 100%.
Yeah,
and you can do it that way too. Okay, we're right through this list. So number 7, Citizen Sleeper, and The Quarry, another tie. Citizen Sleeper, I've heard my good friend Andy Cortez go on about this game, but Amy, I want to hear what you think.
It's fucking fun. It's fucking amazing, man.
Yes.
It's fucking amazing. It's like much like I was just talking about Narco, where it's like capitalism will kill us all, but like this game somehow manages to be hopeful about it. Like, if the system is trying to kill us all, like all we have is each other, right? So like you form bonds with people on this space station. You're playing as a sleeper, which is like a robot, where it's like you're a person who has your AI, your consciousness uploaded into a robot, and then that robot like is indentured to do work, and then like this sleeper has escaped from that. And has ran to the space station called the Eye. So like that's where you start the game, and it's like, okay, I need to like build a life here. And it's not easy, and especially at the beginning, it feels like it might be one of those games where you're going to struggle. But as you can get past that curve, that survival curve, that difficulty curve, and like get on top of it, and then you really start getting to just explore the station and explore these different characters' stories. And all of the different like ways that you can interact with other characters and the cool things that you can do. And this game has like a ton of different endings, and they're not all mutually exclusive. Like you're essentially getting an ending for each character's story, and that doesn't necessarily have to end the game. That just ends that storyline. So then you can just keep going, and then you can just keep going through to other people's different storylines. And the writing is just incredible. And when I was finished the game, I was like, genuinely, it was heartwarming in a way that I just wasn't expecting it to be. And I also want to shout out the way the gameplay works, because you basically, at the beginning of every day, you roll 6-sided dice.
Ooh,
and then those dice, and then those dice, like you carry them through the rest of the day, and then you use them on things. So like if you've got like a 6, you need to do a task, like you put that 6 in that task, and then that generates the result of how successful you are at that task. But the game also finds ways to make low dice rolls useful in different ways. So it really like pushes around and plays around with that mechanic a lot. So that like awesome. If you roll a bunch of like 1s and 2s at the beginning of a day, you're not going to go, oh well, this day is a fucking write-off. It's like it doesn't necessarily have to be a write-off.
No, that's awesome.
And yeah, it just loved. I think I played all through this game in like a weekend. Absolutely adored it. Loved my time with it thoroughly. Brilliant. I also loved Moody's pick as well. I was there when he played it. We played it together.
Moody, tell me who lived and who died in The Quarry.
I can't remember. I'm not going to lie. But The Quarry, I'll state this with all the games I've played this year. Quarry is probably the most fun I've had playing a game, and that is because of how me and Amy played it. Yeah, I controlled it, yet she gave the decisions of what to do. And it was absolutely brilliant. It was so much fun doing it this way. I had so much fun. I kind of wish you and me did this for As Dusk Falls as well, Amy. I think we could have had a blast with this.
Definitely
for it. Yeah. Hopefully,
I think if I'd have been making the decisions while you were like controlling As Dusk Falls, I would have a nervous fucking breakdown. But yeah,
I can understand that. But yeah, The Quarry, it was like it is a 80s horror movie, basically B-movie type movie a bit as well. It's the kids are stupid. And I won't lie, the choices we made, or Amy made them even stupider. Me and Amy had so much fun with the characters where we were literally legit laughed so hard we basically almost broke our own stream because we couldn't play the game. We were laughing so much at each other.
Yeah.
The highlights are out there on the youtube.com switch. YouTube.com. wordsaboutgames.uk. They're so much fun. Like, go and check them out. They really are. It's just batshit crazy, and I adored this game. The only reason is as low as it is because of one reason. I think Amy's with me as well. The fucking ending. It ends so abrupt, just like it's a Michael Bay movie, like Transformers. It's like we finish the action now. Do a epic monologue and boom, like a Linkin Basket song at the end or something. A Linkin Park song right at the end. It's like it's crazy. It's,
I've done.
yeah, it finishes so fast. Like we knew we were at the end, but we were also thinking, oh, we're gonna have some like payoff properly. The end happens. We both fuck up the end.
Yeah,
it's spectacular.
It was it was a spectacular fuck up. But it was a microphone that failed us. It wasn't either of us that failed us.
Yeah.
The ending was the thing that held it back for me as well. Like, this is probably the most fun I had playing a game, just because of the way we played it, like you say. The only reason it didn't end up on my list is because I liked other games more, and the ending really did kind of... Because we spent the entire game trying to get two characters together, and then we never even found out if it worked.
Yeah.
No, I suppose it's that thing of... obviously, the end of the game is the taste that you leave, and that's the kind of taste that lingers in your brain, kind of thing, when you think about the game. So, I mean, a similar argument is often labeled at Mass Effect 3 in terms of the 99% of that game is fantastic, but the thing people talk about is the more divisive ending kind of thing. And rightly or wrongly, they talk about that.
We talk about Mass Effect.
It's like we word about games podcast when we don't mention Mass Effect a couple of times.
He's not going to do a 9-hour video.
Not 9 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, team, let's move on to number 6. Get ready to shave those tenths of a second off with Neon White. But get ready to draw out your cards, because it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel up there too.
How did these two games end up next to each other? That's kind of cool.
That's bonkers.
Two weebiest fucking games on the list, I'm betting, and they're both in the same spot.
Maybe tell us about how you shaved all those cents of a second off in Neon White.
Fucking, I don't know, man. All I remember is, right, I saw this at a Nintendo Direct last year, and I went, this game looks interesting. And then I played the demo at a Steam Next Fest, and I went, this game is really good. And then I downloaded it on Steam, and I had to wait. In fact, I was texting Moody because I was like, I'm waiting for this to unlock. Like, this is like one of about 3 games where it's like, I'm literally, this year where I'm like, I'm waiting for the time that I can play this. And I just never stopped. Like, there was just something about the weird combination of gameplay that, like, just compels you to keep playing it. Like, the story is whatever. Like, people have complained about the story, and people have defended the story, and I'm here to say, like, it's anime bullshit. Like, your tolerance for anime bullshit is going to depend on, like, how much you get annoyed by or enjoy the story of Neon White. But the thing for me was just the levels and the gameplay, and, like... The progression is so quick, where it's like you start off and like you learn how to like move fast, because this is essentially a game about going through levels really quickly. And then like every like new chapter, like it would unlock a new mechanic, because like you get cards that are guns, and like sometimes you'll use the guns to shoot demons, but you can also use them as movement abilities. So like you can trade them in to like do a grapple or do an extra jump in the air or something like that. And the idea is to just figure out how to get from the beginning of the level to the end of the level as efficiently and quickly as possible. It's one of the few games that I 100%ed. Like, I figured out, like, you have to get gold medals in all of the levels.
Yes.
And I did that. Like, and I didn't even, like, go back to do it. What I did was, if I got to the end of a level and I had anything less than a gold medal, I restarted the level.
No, that's fair. That's how I go about racing games in general. So yeah, I feel your pain when it comes to that one. So
I was just enjoying them that much. It wasn't even pain. Like, the only pain was like there was some challenge levels that were really difficult because you had to be really precise with your movement. But I mean, like I was happy to like replay these levels over and over again. When I finished the game, like there's this mode you unlock called Heaven Rush mode, where you can just play through the entire game in a randomized order. And like I played that for about 2 weeks. Like, not even like finishing it. I was just like, I want to play more of this game. I'm going to boot this up and I'm just going to play these levels in a random order, and I'd play it for like 2 hours. Then for no reason, like I finished the game, I've 100%ed all the things. I found all the gifts hidden in all the levels and unlocked all the story scenes. There's no reason for me to play this game anymore, but I'm still playing it.
Great stuff. No, that's awesome. Moody, let's talk some Master Duel with Yu-Gi-Oh!
This is the game I've played most this year.
It is.
By a country mile.
Do you have an hour count for me, or is it in the hundreds?
Shout out to Sadie.
Give us a moment. I can find that out. I have played, since it released, 151 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, every time I feel like every time I log into Steam, definitely is playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I feel like
it's nothing fancy or anything like that. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. If you know Yu-Gi-Oh, you know what this is, and it's just simple. It's to the point. It's a game for me. I'm not gonna lie. If you like Yu-Gi-Oh, it's for the Yu-Gi-Oh fans. And
is it streamlined in any way compared to previous Yu-Gi-Oh titles, or have they like cut out all the facts and things like that? Or?
It plays pretty much like what's those other ones that are out there? The other card games.
Magic the Gathering.
That's it, Magic the Gathering, those type of things and everything like that. Okay. It plays basically like that. It doesn't not plays like that. It plays like how they've set it all up on the game, the board and everything like that. And yeah, it's just so much fun. You just create your deck, you go out there, you sometimes will get your ass kicked really easy. Because if you haven't played for many, if you haven't played it more hours, what?
Gotta watch out for Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Oh god, dude. There's worse. It's worse than that fucker. My goodness, yeah. Like, especially if you don't understand. I'm a casual player, so when I'm seeing all these big fucking 10-minute freaking setup boards, and I'm just like, okay, I'd surrender and see you tomorrow. I scoop half the time when I see that. I'm thinking, dude, it took you 10 minutes to get to this. I'm ready to go to sleep.
Time to log off.
But, yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well, mate, I'm sorry. My mum's calling me. But no, I absolutely adore it. Like, I'm a huge fan of like the decks and everything like that. I love Red Eyes. I love the Dino decks, and I just like going for it. I just like chill. I have fun, and I'm just chilling all the time. I whack on some music or whack on a Netflix or a film while I'm playing it, and it's just chill, and I really enjoy it. Is it the best game of the year? No, but it's the game I've played the most this year, and it deserves to be on the top 10 for me for that.
100%.
And that's alone.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
So
everyone has that game where they just like listen to something or watch something while they're doing the game. Yeah.
And it tied with Neon White, one of the best games of the year. Who knew? Who knew Yu-Gi-Oh was that good?
Number 5 is the anime section.
Well, that's it. So let's have a quick recap of how we got to this point as we go into the second half of the list. So at number 10, we have the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. At number 9, we have Road Warden and Return to Monkey Island. Number 8 is Norco and As Dusk Falls. Number 7, we have Citizen Sleeper and The Quarry. Number 6, it is Neon White and Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Let's get into it with the top 5. And your number 5 with 7 points, we have Pentiment and The Last of Us Part 1.
Let's switch it up. Let's let Mooney go first for the second half of the list. Let's
go for it. So, The Last of Us Part 1. Tell us how we have no idea what loss is.
It's The Last of Us Part 1, guys.
It is.
This masterpiece of a game.
Then
I can't help you.
I think for a lot of the discourse around why this needed to be remastered, re-released again, and kind of remade, I think goes away when we talk about the plethora of accessibility options that they brought to it. Obviously, they brought a lot of it to Part 2, and I think, if you're one of the people who are questioning why Naughty Dog went to the trouble of doing this, it is to allow so many more people to be able to experience one of the best stories, in my personal opinion, that we have in this medium. And obviously, as people get invested into the HBO show, which is going to be like some episodes in by this point, by the time of airing. So yeah, and
No, it won't. It comes out next week. We get this will be out Friday.
The first episode drops. Sunday. It is next week.
Yeah, next week. Sunday for America, us for Monday.
Time is a flat circle. But,
it is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So I have no issues with this being so high up on your individual list kind of thing. And I'm taking up your spot talking about The Last of Us. Tell me why you like The Last of Us Part 1 or why you love it.
It's one of the greatest stories ever created in a video game. Mm-hmm. There's only a handful that I think outdo it for the most part. It's just so great. I love the characters. I love the story. I think the visuals are way, way more improved. Again, this Naughty Dog game, the gameplay is solid.
Yep.
I was a little bit disappointed that they hadn't brought what was on number 2 into this one.
Just in terms of mechanics, like the dodge and the prone
it's a
movements,
lot more
that kind of thing, right?
It's a lot more stiff compared to what number 2 is and everything. If number 2 played like what number 1 would, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't bother me one bit because
you know how good it can be.
Yeah, they've improved on their own mechanics, so it's like you should have done that. But yeah, like the characters are just amazing. Like Joel is arguably one of the best written characters out there. Apart from maybe another game that's I'm sure is going to be on this list later on. Maybe who knows? And everything like that. But yeah, I just adored. Like I have no problem with remakes. I have no problem with re-releases whatsoever. If that puts me back in that world and everything like that, and if I do not mind, if the game was so impactful for me, I will happily play over and over, many, many times for the same game over and over again. I will have no problem. I'm bloody buying Dead Space Remake at the end of the month. That game is awesome. It's just more of a visual upgrade and probably a little bit less stiff. Maybe I might be completely wrong there, but it's basically probably going to be mostly the same game as what the other one was, especially story-wise and everything for it. But I can't wait to play that game again because it's fucking Dead Space. So
let me go. Let me go. I don't want to be here anymore.
I'll state this right now. I'm streaming that fucking game on Words About
Games.
Sorry,
I'm just referencing Moody's stream of Dead Space 1.
I am going to
sing
stream
a very
that
funny
game.
song. He does that from time to time. Twitch.tv/WordsAboutGames. We're going to release an album one day of all the stupid shit Moody sings in games.
Yes.
Some of it's still stuck in my head.
It's a gift that keeps on giving. Amy, tell us a little bit about Pentiment.
This was a game I played not over break, but I didn't really start it in time for us to really review it on a podcast. My hype built for this game built up slowly, where it was like I was aware it existed, I was aware of who was developing it, and I was aware that they made some of the best games I've ever played. And then I just downloaded it and I started playing it, and I was like, okay, I'm digging this. It's very slow burn, very slow build up. Like the way you build the character, because you play Andreas Mailer. And the way you build a character is through the dialogue. So the first 45 minutes to an hour of the game, you're talking to other characters and you're building up the skills that you'll be able to access in dialogue. So for example, what other you can speak another language apart from German because this game is set in Germany, and it's based on where Andreas Mailer studied abroad. You know what I mean? It was gap year or whatever. They had those in the 16th century, I'm sure.
Of course, they had the Grand Tour going on where they would just sod off for half a year.
So it's you pick he was in Venice for a bit, and that's how he learned Italian, and then you can talk to the Italian characters, and then the thing happens, which is in the trailers, so I'm okay spoiling it. It's someone gets murdered, and the person who is accused is a person who couldn't possibly have done it. So you have a certain amount of in-game days to figure out who's done the murder.
Who did it?
Spoiler alert. That's only the first part of the game. So I'm not going to really talk too much in depth of the story and how it goes from there on, but there's two other parts of the game essentially. And the game is very much it's a historical game, but it's also about history, and it's about how we decide what happened in history and how we as a society,
as in who writes history and
who writes history and what do they say and why do they say it. It's probably my favorite written game of the year in terms of the writing. It absolutely blew me away with how many characters are in this game and how many of them I actually cared about. Because usually when I come into a game with a massive cast of characters, and I'm saying there's 30 characters that you get to know over the course of I think it's 25 years of in-game time, and so you get to see kids and there'll be this toddler and she can't talk in the first chapter, and then obviously you get to see it grow up. and stuff like that. And it's just, there's some moments in this game that are genuinely like laugh out loud funny. There are a lot of moments in this game that are genuinely like heartbreaking. There are a lot more moments that are generally heartwarming. And I was just gripped from start to finish to see like how badly I'd fucked up in the first chapter, which is a feature of the game. Like you won't get the right answer. You can't like,
yeah, of course.
You can't get the right answer in the first chapter, essentially.
Not even Benoit Blanc's going to get the right answer in the first chapter.
No. I mean, part of the game and what it's trying to do is it's like, don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about the choices that you're going to make. The more interesting part is seeing what the fallout is. And
great stuff.
Superb. Also, it's about Peasants' Revolt.
Yes,
and we could all learn a lesson from that right now.
Isn't that the truth? Okay, let's move it on.
General strike.
Let's move it on to number 4, where we have Pokemon Legends Arceus. By itself, our first solo game in quite a while.
Whoa!
Coming in with 8 points. Moody, tell us why you loved this version of Pokemon.
If another Pokemon game wasn't so buggy and a complete fucking mess, it probably would be the best. Like I stated when I talked about the game, Scarlet and Violet probably would be the best Pokemon game we've had in years. If Legend Arceus didn't come out, Legend Arceus changes the mold in such a way that it is completely refreshing to play a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Yes, do you do the same thing of catching Pokemon? Yes. Is the story a bit slapstick and a bit dumb, of especially how it begins? Like, oh, you've been sucked into a portal. Don't know how. Doesn't explain it.
Don't worry about that. It's fine.
All. Don't worry about it. You're not there for that. You're there to throw balls at monsters. That's all that matters. And it's so cool because you can actually sneak up to the Pokemon and throw the ball without even having the battle.
Yeah.
Why it's took them 20 odd years to do this type of thing is absolutely beyond me, Game Freak. It's you idiots. I'll just say this. But yeah, Legend
Idiots are maybe they're probably hardworking idiots. The amount of title they're turning out in a given year.
Idiots again because they're crunching at their own fault.
Can I just jump in really quick to say, you cut out as I went, and as I was walking back to the room, you cut back in, and all I heard was Moody go, throwing balls at monsters. Sorry.
No, it's all right. But Pokemon Legends Arceus is, it's what everyone's been waiting for a while. Just an open world to go out and find Pokemon. And I love how they just do it for the game. They make it so easy. They make it just like, they give you little mini missions. Like, there's been levels, there's been missions and stories in the games, what they've done on like the mainline games and everything, but they've never really been of just like go out, do a mission, come back, collect your points type of thing, or award or whatever. That's just like, even though that concept's been out there for years and we've done it on many games for many years, doing it in a Pokemon game just freshens it up in such a way that it's just like, I've never done this in a Pokemon game. This is new.
Absolutely.
How flipping new now.
They've invented something here.
Yes. They've
reinvented a whole new genre.
There you go.
Yeah, a whole new genre. Yeah, and it's just, I adored it. Like, by the end of it, like, there was such a funny thing. Like, I streamed this for 12 hours when it first came out. It's on the Twitch channel, and there's content out there for me of me throwing it, and like, there's literally a part where before I finished the 12-hour stream, I was literally like, don't worry, Amy, I'll get you your Pokemon you want. We'll get her. We will get her. And I did. I got her. I evolved a Gardevoir all the way up to Gardevoir and everything. And Amy was just like, oh my God. And then I decided, well, I'm going to go one step further. Off stream and everything like that, I went out and got the gigantic one and showed her. And it was just like, it was the Resident Evil 7 girl all over again, or 8 girl all over again.
I forgot we were collectively thirsting over our Pokemon
some
at the beginning.
Respect on Lady Dimitrescu's name.
Yeah. Step on me,
2022 is weird.
2022 was really weird. It started weird with Pokemon Legends Arceus.
I was going to say,
because it was such a great game.
We were all begging for a Pokemon to step on our faces.
Yeah.
There you go. we've all seen the TikToks of the I think the grass starter when they're fully evolved and they're giving the boy a smooch, and then the boy and the white worm looking Pokemon coming out and looking like it's a penis coming out of his shorts. We've all seen those TikToks and we've all laughed along with them. I think for Pokemon Legends to come out, and despite obviously some of the shortcomings in terms of what Game Freak decided to leave on the floor in terms of the shortcuts where you can set up a base camp, but there's no real animation to it. The screen goes black and you hear the sound of two rocks banging together. Then the next it comes up and says, "Oh, you got new base camp," or the kind of visual effects of
base camp unlocked.
Yeah, there you go. And then some of the whether it be the anti-aliasing not working or some of the jagged lines you have around the actual assets themselves. And you think, right, Pokemon is the biggest franchise in the world kind of thing in terms of the revenue and how much money they make from merchandise. And I just wish that either they switch studios or have a bunch of different studios working on the various different games. Because I think what we're finding is we're in a situation where they're pumping out these games, like 2 or 3 of them a year. And they just don't have the time or the resources to put the love and care that the fans of these games clearly deserve. But at the moment, they don't have any incentive to change their ways because they're selling like 10 million copies of the latest release. But I'm really glad that you enjoyed this game, Moody, and I hope that they fix Scarlet and Violet for you, that you can have that game just as much.
Yeah, I have barely touched that game, which is really irritating to me. The thing is they do outsource. Like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, that was developed by a different studio. They outsourced that game to another developer. So they can do that. Hopefully, maybe if they were impressed with that developer, they'll bring it on as maybe a full-time partner.
Yeah.
And then start doing this and properly, because it's crazy to think that they're one of the biggest developers out there, but they're such a small studio. Game Freak. I think they only have like overall 30 developers, if not just a little bit more. They don't. I better fact check that to make sure, but they are not that big compared to knowing what they want to do. Like they just released 2 open, massive world games within 12 months of each other, basically, and both of them were buggy. Like Arceus had bugs. There was some problems with that game, like you stated, Vitz, but it worked compared to what Scarlet and Violet are right now, and that's the most disappointing thing about it. So like they really need to upscale for that.
Well, hopefully they'll learn some lessons, and the years to come will have much more Monster Hunting adventures, the decent kind, with fewer bugs at least.
They have 169 staff. That's combining all of them. That's including their CEO.
Oh, okay, right.
So,
wowzers.
You got to think that's probably 100 developers in various different areas.
I'm just shuddering at the amount of crunch those people must have to endure. Okay, let's move it on, team, to some more positive news. In at number 3, as my chair starts to sink. It's time to put our foolish ambitions to rest with Elden Ring, but team that with We Are OFK.
What a combination.
This is like 2 diametrically opposed games. But
basically.
It's the list that what happens on Words About Games.
One of those games is taking the piss out of the other game. No. We can go first.
No, I've just been speaking for a while. You go first.
That's fine.
That's it.
All right. We Are OFK for the longest time was my game of the year.
Wow.
I absolutely adored
We
Are OFK. The music, the characters, the visuals, everything about this game, I absolutely adored. It was well written. Everyone I instantly fell in love with and connected with instantly. I saw like a bit of myself in each character. And I just absolutely adored them. They were so well done, and I just loved how it worked. Like each episode, the developer was smart enough. Like they released each episode separately, but I was able to play it all at once. Excuse me. But they also give you a time of how long it will take you to complete an episode.
Yes.
And I loved that. I love that so much. I was thinking, that's a nice little touch. Nice little touch. It's just like, it's everything I want from a video game. Strong characters, check. Lovely visuals, depending on what the art style is, check. Beautiful music, check. Great characters, check. Written beautifully. Check. I know I said characters twice. I don't care. That's how great they are.
That's it.
Yeah, and it gives me everything I wanted. And it's a short game as well, so what makes it even better. You can get this done within 5 hours. And I loved it even for it.
The soundtrack.
Yes.
The soundtrack is amazing. The soundtrack is incredible. So wait a minute. So did you not put this in your top 10, Amy?
It was in and out. It was bouncing in and out. I remember what's at number. I remember what I put at number 10, and if I'd have bounced that for We Are OFK, I think you would have come to my house and strangled me with that Pokemon hat. But We Are OFK, I loved We Are OFK. I loved the fact that you got me to force me to play a game, because that's what happened.
I sent a text of dialogue of what was happening to Amy, and Amy just replied as that emoji, and it was just like, what?
It was that emoji, and then it was, I'll play this so we can talk about it on the next podcast. And that's what happened.
Oh, that's great. It's one that I want to check out. I've heard some things around the pacing in terms of how I think by the stuff that ends up happening at the end of episode 5, it kind of should have happened at the end of episode 3 kind of thing in terms of condensing, or there may be some padding going on in the later episodes, but I've heard or listened to the soundtrack rather, and yeah, you are right. It's phenomenal. So it does kind of entice me to try to go ahead and experience the game that inspired that kind of thing. So I am all about.
There's 5
that.
episodes. The first 4 episodes are dedicated to each individual character.
Yeah.
So you play each you see their side and everything out and what's going on in their life. The final one is obviously a giant wrap up. Mm-hmm. I think Amy, even you agreed with me, if I remember when we talked about this game, that we felt like it missed a couple of things like that we wished we could have seen.
Yeah.
But because we loved the story and the characters so much, we kind of gave it a pass. But I can understand why people may not give it a pass for that, because I wanted to see certain things happen, but it was still great at the same time. Yeah.
Great stuff.
Sorry, it was about to play a song. Follow us on my whatever YouTube's version of Wrapped is. And considering the game only came out like, what was it, August? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I listened to that song more than I listen to a lot of other songs. I was just looking it up.
No, that's awesome. Now it's time to talk about Battle Tarnished.
Like when we did this list, the way we were going to do it, I was disappointed that Elden Ring had no chance for Game of the Year, because I was like, Mooney's not going to play it, and that's fair, totally fair. But
we're at a game that I actually played and completed, which is a surprise to me. So this was the very first of these types of games. I know people get triggered when we refer to this as a Souls game, because people are like, it's not a Souls game.
It's a fucking Souls game. Like, I've played Dark Souls 3. This is just Dark Souls 4.
It's my first FromSoft title, and I absolutely adore this game, and I'm also terrified and disgusted by it all at the same time. In terms of
that's fair.
the from a game that doesn't hold your hand and lets you explore in any given direction that you want to do, and it rewards you for that. Obviously, for the places it does take you, they are some of the most scariest places I've ever been and never want to go back to. But it also takes you to some of the most beautiful places you've ever seen as well. And a lot of these places exist underground, which I wasn't expecting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That lift ride.
Yes.
Fuck off. Like, this lift's taking a minute.
That's it.
Oh shit, where the fuck am I? There's a whole underground map.
Mm-hmm. In terms of the actual mechanics itself, like the moment-to-moment gameplay, I think there's a lot of initial adjustment to do, especially from someone new to these types of games, in terms of you've got to get your timing down, and you've got to be fast around learning the enemy's patterns, especially when it comes to bosses and things, in terms of the kind of cadence of their attacks. But it's punishing, but it's not I wouldn't say it's a difficult game. It's just a punishing game to get your head around to begin with. And it does offer you all the tools to go away and explore and get as many runes as you want, and level up, and then get essentially a big buster, a gut sword from Berserk kind of thing, and go around and bonk everybody on the head real good. That's And it's one of these where, you can make it less challenging for yourself, but it's still ultimately rewarding. I still don't have the foggiest what went on in the story. So for me, and this might be slight spoilers, I followed the Rhino quest through to the end, and that's the one that I went with. And even they say I'm an Elden Lord. I've still got no clue what an Elden Lord does or what's expected of an Elden Lord. So the people of that world are probably suffering.
Fucked.
But then, the big giant spider hand thing is in the manor. Yeah. No, thanks. I don't want to do that ever again.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that memory, Vitz.
That's it.
I mean, Elden Ring's so high on my list just because, it's just such a good. It was just such a good game to play, right? Like, obviously, I had the opposite experience of I played some of these games before, and I got good as they say, and like Elden Ring's open world, I didn't know. I was like, oh, I don't know about this, like because you play Bloodborne and Dark Souls, and it's like, oh, these are really well designed levels, and I don't know how they're going to do in an open world environment. And then it turned out like, oh, actually, like From Software's approach to designing a world. They could have given us a journal, but aside from that, like genuinely, like you could just pick a direction and go in that direction, and there'll be something for you to find there. And I was like, that's great. You know what I mean? Like, at no point was the game going, hey, you need to go to this place next, and I go, okay, I'll go to this place next, and then hey, you need to go to these two places, and oh, hey, there's 10 collectibles over here, and then eventually, like, I just get overwhelmed by that kind of thing.
Yes.
Whereas this was like, I'm going to go left, and then you go left. Oh, there's a cave here. What's in this cave? Unspeakable horrors, usually.
Yes.
But like, I love that approach to open world design. And also the gameplay is the gameplay. Like I've made 2 videos about From Software games at this point. Obviously, both like praising to high heaven how well the gameplay is designed. But like with Elden Ring, I think it is the most accessible that From Software has ever been. I know multiple people who have made this their first one that they've either the first one that they've played or the first one they've been able to get into, and it's because they finally like opened up the choice, right?
Yes,
there are a lot of viable builds in previous From Software games. But in Elden Ring, you can just like go in completely different directions. Like you were talking
100%.
about using the Berserk sword, which is just a giant sword. And like I did magic. Like for the first time ever in one of these games, I was like, I'm going to do magic. And I did that all the way at the end. I know Alfie was using a bow at one point. And like I've known people I've talked to who've done like bleed builds and arcane builds and cheese builds.
Yes.
And if you fought Radahn before the first patch, you definitely had to use cheese on that one. Fucking hell, he was no joke. But
you can stab a dragon in the armpit until they die without them moving and that kind of thing. And there's a bird you can shoot.
I always assumed that if I did that, something really bad was going to happen because it's a From Software game. So I just didn't do it. I was like, there are going to be consequences for this later, I'm sure. But no, that was part of it. It was like, it was weird to play a From Software game and have like a lot of people around me also playing it at the same time.
Yes.
And then also just like, I've like, played the game, played it through to completion. I've messed around with the co-op with my friend a couple of times. But I've watched speedruns and I've watched meme runs and I've just continued like throughout the entire year, just keep like existing in this world of Elden Ring for a bunch of different ways. Like even like last week I was watching a guy do a randomizer. It was the funniest video I've seen on the internet all year. Randomized all the normal enemies were either crabs or revenants or bosses.
Oh wow! Okay.
So the open world was just full of bosses. But like that's the thing. Like I feel like I finished the game a few weeks after it came out, but I also feel like I've never actually been done with the game the entire time, even though I haven't played it because I've just been in it, and I loved it. And I still love it. But I'm never going to play it again. I'm sorry. There's so much to that game. I'm just like, don't ask me for that video.
Yeah.
I can't beat Millennia again. I'm fairly certain I can't go through that fight again.
I didn't even bother with that. But I'm really intrigued into... so there's like I want to say it's an unofficial mod. It probably is, but the seamless co-op mode.
Seamless co-op, yeah.
Yeah, that's been integrated into the at least the PC version. So I think that'll be a different experience. And the thing that was striking to me was all the people you were speaking to, they would have different stories about what their last night experience was with Elden Ring in terms of, oh, you know, I went west and I did this, or I went east and I did this, and it's completely different. Yeah. And even though many of the elements are the same in terms of, you know, the smaller dungeons you go in and they're often found in caves and things, it's the NPCs that you find in there. It's the kind of linked quests. That's, oh, I met this one dude and he told me to go to a fort, and then I fought this big dude, and then when I went back, and you know his daughter's dead and all the rest of it. And the it's the more intimate stories that make this game special for me.
It's like old, and this is the last thing I'll say because I want to. Obviously, we've got other games to talk about, but it's like the old style like of gaming, where it's like games are full of secrets, but instead of like looking them up online or whatever, you talk to your friends and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even know that. Like my story of it is I went north and I fucking stubbornly brute forced my way through Stormwind Castle using all of the collected like skills from Bloodborne and Dark Souls before like talking to Elfie and realizing there's 2 entire areas behind me that I could have gone to first.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. I could have just gone that way. Oh, shit.
Okay, great stuff. Let's move it on to number 2. Where we have
pause this one quickly. I'm very curious about number 2 because, like, what is it? I'm guessing what number 1 is for because the game hasn't come up yet. But is it what I think you've just played?
Let's
find out. The question I'm asking myself, maybe, is what I've just played number 1? Have I done something by accident? Let's find out. Vitz, please continue.
At number 2, we have another tie. We have Tunic and Immortality. So I will say for everybody listening and watching that Tunic appeared on both of the lists. However, Amy put Immortality as then number 1.
They did.
Let's go Tunic first. Moody, tell us the tale of that little tiny fox trying to do his daring do.
That's interesting.
It's a stunned silence from
I can't wait to find out how close it was. It must have been close.
Okay. Fucking hell.
Yeah, Tunic.
Tunic is the best. What's the genre again?
Puzzle. Zelda-like. Zelda-like.
Isometric.
Zelda-like, Dead Cells-like, Death's Door type game. That came out like this year, 2022. I absolutely adored this little thing. I have an epiphany for foxes. They're one of my favorite animals in the world. So when I got the chance to play as a fox with a little sword and a shield, I was like, I'm in. And I fell in love with it. It was adorable. The gameplay I really enjoyed. I loved that they give you a fantastic accessibility options for this game that made me just champion it even more for the game. The visuals are stunning. I thought the combat or the boss fights I thought they were actually really kind of smart for me. Personally, I really enjoyed them. I thought they really worked really well. The score I think is really, really fun and really adorable for it. And there's some like. Even though the story didn't really get across for me mostly, just because when you're doing a visual type story, I don't really pick it up sometimes, or even the most of the times for me personally. You want to say something?
I have a question. I'm just going to ask, and then because I'll talk later. Did you get the full ending, the true ending?
No idea.
Okay, cool.
Can't remember. No. I played this.
You didn't
when it came out. But I still might not have got it either way. I mean, I still might not. No,
that's cool. I just wanted to ask, like, because the story disappointed me as well, and I saw both endings.
Yeah. Is the ending? Sorry, I'm ignorant to Tunic. It's a game I haven't got around to. Is the true ending, quote unquote, is that tied to unlocking each of the pages of the manual, or is there another condition you have to meet first?
Oh, I'll get there. Okay, I'll get to it. I'll let me really finish.
Okay. No, I was practically done. So go.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so like everything Moody says is spot on. And I tried to play this game when it first came out. Me and Moody talked about it. Moody took the review on this one because I played it and I was like, nah, this isn't. this isn't where I'm at right now in my life. And I think I had a theory as I played it last week or the week before, I can't remember, that like it was because Elden Ring and then Tunic wanted very similar things out of me in terms of how they were designed. And I was just like, I was probably a bit tired of that from that point of view. I needed a break from that. But I was talking to my friend Tori. He's been on this podcast a few times, and she convinced me and give it another shot because I was like, I had time to play one more game. These are the games that I've still got installed. And she said, "Oh, Tunic." So I went, okay, Tunic. I played it. It's fine. Like on the surface level of the Zelda like stuff, you know, you run around, you're a fox with a sword and a shield, and the combat's okay, but it's not amazing. And you know, you go to different places and you do the things that you need to do to keep progressing the story, and like you're collecting these manual pages. And I'll be very careful now. The manual gives you a lot of cool information about what's in the game and how it works. And like when you start reading through the pages, and there's reference to something in there that was, I assume, is an item in game. And then when I found that item and I realized how it worked, like this went from, oh, it's pretty good, but I don't know if it's going to be in my top 10. Right. That's amazing. Like there's this one design element that I can't spoil. I can't do that to anybody who hasn't figured this out. Like, mind blown. And then it's like you're playing from that point on. It was like I was playing an entirely different game. And then as I'm collecting more and more manual pages and figuring out more and more of the secrets that are in Tunic, like the discoverability in this game is second to none. There's like layers to this shit, that game, that I haven't even like figured out. Like I haven't 100% in the game. I know that because I don't have all the achievements for all the secret treasures and stuff like that. But when I started like playing the next layer down of Tunic, right, from what's in the trailers and on the Steam store page to like that one thing that's underneath, it was like, oh, okay, like I was obsessed with that.
That's brilliant. Moody, do you reckon you've got this item that Amy's referring to?
I honestly don't know.
I'll text it.
I've typed in. I'm looking at YouTube right now. Typed in like true ending and everything. I think I fought this blue fox at the end.
Yeah, no, that's the ending everybody gets if you finish the game. It's fine. We'll talk about it after.
So that's another.
100%. I'm not done curious more than anything.
So. We'll talk about it after. I don't think getting the true ending specifically would have improved your view of the story somewhat. It's definitely a better ending than the one that you're talking about. But like, I wasn't into the story that much either. To be fair, I was just curious as to whether you had or you hadn't.
No. Well, that's the worry about visual storytelling. That's why some visual stories, when I hear praise for all of them, some of them is just like, what the hell? Well, I'm just like, what? Okay, that just went right out of my head. The only one that truly impacted me years and years ago, which was nothing but visual storytelling, was Journey. It was a free game that was, by the end of it, I had a tear rolling down my eye and I was saying, what the fuck's this game done to me? I'm still asking that question to this day. but yeah. It's a game that's more strongest strength is its combat and its map world and everything. I really enjoyed that. I think, and its visuals are really, really canny. It's a great made game. It's well done. Like I had a lot of fun with it, and I can see why like a lot of people enjoyed it as well. So,
oh, fantastic! Amy, tell me all about Immortality. Your top
game of the year. I mean, it wasn't always my game of the year, if you know that. But
I know.
I mean, like I played this game in a weekend.
So quickly, is the game of the year Immortality?
No.
Or do we have
this
another
is number
game
2. We still got another game.
Okay. Thank fucking God. I would have been worried if it was Immortality.
It couldn't have been Immortality, really. You stacked the deck against me like you always do. Immortality. It was my game of the year because it essentially for the same reasons as Tunic, except Immortality had nothing in it that I didn't like. I just said about Tunic, it's like the combat was okay, but it wasn't great, and the story didn't really hit for me. Immortality has that thing of discoverability, where it's like you're piecing all these movies together, and you're like clicking on things to match cut, and it'll take you into some other either a clip from the movie or some other piece of footage, like an interview with the actress Marissa Marcel, because the idea is you're trying to figure out what happened to Marissa Marcel. And as you're doing all of this, you're like you're sort of piecing together like bits and pieces of a story, and then like you'll uncover something at some point in a certain way by doing a certain thing, and then it flips the whole game on its head, and you're like, again, it's like you're not necessarily playing a different game, but you're playing the same game in a different way because now you're looking for something else. And then again, like the like I played through it, I got to the credits, and then I still didn't really understand what was happening, so I kept going and I kept digging through these clips and I kept looking for them, and I was just like, okay. Like, what I love about a Sam Barlow game, and I've been a big fan of her story in Telling Lies before this, is like you play it until you're satisfied that you have the answers that you want, and then you can stop and walk away. And there could be more there for you to find, but if I did that and I got to the point where I was like, I'm satisfied, I have the answers, I figured out what the hell happened to Marissa Marcel and so many other people, and then I was like, I'm done. That's awesome. But I never stopped thinking about the game and the story. And Manon Gage plays about 17 different roles in this game. Like, she's playing Marissa Marcel, and then she's playing Marissa Marcel playing other characters in the movies that they've filmed for this. And like, legit, like, I'd watch these movies. Like, if they were movies, I'd watch them. Like, the fact that they've managed to make movies, because they were from essentially 3 different periods of cinema.
Yes.
And they've managed to like recreate those. Like, you watch clips from Minsky, and like you would think like, yeah, this is definitely like a 70s or 80s like gritty noir crime story, right? It's like if someone had just put Minsky in front of you and played you, it would have been like, oh, this is a movie from that time period where they were making these kinds of movies. And it's the same with Ambrosio, and it's the same with Two of Everything and the time periods they come from. And like, it just gripped me from start to finish. Like, there weren't too many games this year where I played them and couldn't stop playing them until I was done with them. And Immortality was one, and it was probably my favorite, and that's how I ended up putting it on the top of my list.
Heck yes, I love that. Okay, my guys, gals, and non-binary pals, here we are, the very top of the list. Your Words Back Games Game of the Year is Trombone. Oh, I'm joking. It's God of War Ragnarok. Give it up for the team at Studio Santa Monica with 11 points across the board. God of War Ragnarok is your Game of the Year.
You put God of War at number 10?
Yeah, it kept slipping. Like, as I was building the list, it kept slipping down the list.
For context, friends, Moody put God of War Ragnarok as his Game of the Year.
Does this mean if I had... So, hang on. Does this mean if I hadn't have switched Tunic and Elden Ring at the last second, this would have been a tie? Oh, shit. All right. Okay. That would have been interesting.
Really tell us your journey of all things Ragnarok. We have stunned silence again.
Those things that I know it's subjective, but fuck me, Lord, it's Joe Medforce all over again.
You were hey, you were the one who said, "Why didn't you put We Are OFK on your list?" And I was like, if I'd have done that,
damn. Wow.
And don't think I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it.
Wow. God of War for me, Ragnarok was the best game of 2022 by a country mile. Yes, I know I haven't played everything. I can appreciate that.
Yep.
But for me, it was the thing that just spoke to me the most. I am a sucker for parent stories. I always have been. That's why I love The Last of Us, and The Last of Us Part 2 and everything. And then why I loved the 2018 God of War, and why I adored 2022 Ragnarok.
No, 100%.
I'll say what I said in our review, which I stole from Greg Miller. Kratos is arguably one of the best written characters, if not the best written character of all time in video games. He is just so relatable in so many ways that you see every choice he's trying to do is nothing but to protect his family, and there's nothing more pure and more worthy for a father to do. It's what they're always there to do is to protect your family in any way you can do, and that's all he's trying to do is to protect his son, and you can't ask for much more for that for me. And I think Teal'c gives his best performance. Like seriously, it's absolutely amazing from him. Every character who was from the 2018 game is evolved and is taken to new ways and new depths like you didn't think they would. The new characters who join the game get such great screen time that you feel their side by the end of the game. I was thinking, fucking hell, Thor, you poor bastard. I felt so much for that character by the end. It was just the writing was amazing. Like, it was everything that I wanted in a sequel, and it gave me everything I wanted. It gave me a great payoff, a satisfying. Now, if they decided we're done, God of War's done, and everything like that, I would have no problem with it, and I'll be like, fantastic. But they've also left the door open if they wanted to go in other directions with other characters or with Kratos again and everything like that, and I would be absolutely fine with it because I trust this team to be able to deliver this, and like, it's phenomenal. It's everything that I wanted.
It is. It's a monumental success on every single level. Even the evolution of where we picked up the characters in 2018 to where they are now, like irrespective of Kratos' journey all the way from the Greek pantheon and all of that jazz. It's such a triumph in terms of how even the side quests are just engaging as the main story, and you can lose yourself with following those threads, and then you come back and having this wonderful tale to still get back into. It's about how the combat has evolved and how most of the criticism that people had about 2018, as few as they were in terms of enemy variety and the kind of animations that Kratos had when you took the large enemies down, how all of those have been tended to, and there's so much love and care put into every facet of this game, from the writing to the characters to how the actors themselves have leveled up in terms of their not only appreciation for the medium itself, but what they bring to the stage. And obviously, from 2018 to 2021, I'd say when this game was in development, of how much the medium has moved on in terms of motion capture and all that good jazz as well. And it is probably one of the best games I've ever experienced, and it's be one of these titles which we speak about for many, many years to come. And,
I think so, yeah.
It's bravo and bravo to everybody at Sony Santa Monica, and it's one of these where you can talk about this game forever in terms of you can find so much beauty in terms of the environment and all the 9 realms that you travel to. From the writing itself, there's so many memorable lines that stick with you. So many of these lines which reduce me to tears at points. And it's not only tears of profound sadness, but it's profound happiness at these characters of the journey they've come across and where we leave them. And as you were saying, Moody, if they were to put a nice bow over the series and say, okay, that franchise is done, we're going to move on to a whole new IP, then happy days. But if there is more story to tell, then I'm all for it.
It still breaks my mind that you die in this game at the beginning.
Oh yeah, they do a Kojima-esque thing.
It's amazing. I love that so much. I'm still like, to this day, I'm like,
I'm not done with you yet.
Fuck. You won. The world, you won. Atreus would not have been able to do anything. As strong as Atreus is, he's not Thor or even Odin and Heimdall and everything. He wouldn't have been able to beat them at all. And that's what 100%. I love so much about it. It's just like, you fucking fool. But it was just great. It was amazing. I love it.
Even in the end game, like how because I understand not everybody's got to this game, so I won't say too many spoilers. But where we pick up on some of the side characters, like Mina Sudwall's character, I thought she put in a hell of a performance. And where we leave her character off with the items that they may or may not pick up at the end, it's fascinating to want to know more about their story and where they go off to. And obviously, we have some of the triumphant moments like that, but we also have some heartbreaking scenes as well. And the score that Bear McCreary put together.
I listen to that regularly.
Yes, we just listen to it and we weep. We weep softly to that.
No, I've got to keep it together. I'm on a bus usually.
Yes,
but no, like fucking hell yeah, right? Like I platinumed this game while I was having an anxiety spiral about other stuff in my life. So like I kind of platinumed this game in like 4 days from start to finish, and just fucking
put it at number 10.
Great game. Listen, right? You wanted to do this combined list bollocks.
You decided that, not me.
You were like, I haven't
recommended it.
Oh, I decided I was only going to play 5 games this year. Can we have a shorter list, please? And I was like, fine. I make some choices. It's on my game of the year list. It's the game of the year.
It is.
Like
really?
You're gonna come. It's literally at number 1.
Was immortal.
It's so literally number 1, and you're gonna complain.
Hell,
or can I just say why I liked it?
Fucking way.
Or can I just say why I liked it? Is that all right with you? If I just talk about why I like God of War Ragnarok?
Go for it.
Mr. Pokemon hat, even though you didn't put Pokemon at number 1. Yeah, God of War Ragnarok was such a great time, and such a special experience. And while like the main story, and I know I talked about this in our review, the main story wasn't the plot. Was good, but not amazing. Like for me, it was the character moments that occurred in that plot that were really fantastic, like the tent scene or the scene with
night
Brock.
before Ragnarok. Yeah,
and the scene with Brock and Kratos was in the when they're doing the thing. To me, that was like the first moment in the game where I was like, oh shit, they're really fucking bringing it. And then like going into the post game and doing like clearing out all of the post game stuff and realizing like there's actually a lot of like story stuff here still, like for me to do. And like learning about the creator was especially like I fucking loved that entire like doing that entire map and 100% in it, and then beating the final boss.
Yes.
of the game and seeing the scenes that happen after that. And like, it was a really, really great time. And I really loved it. And fuck what both of you are saying. Like, if they leave it there and fuck off and never make another God of War, I'm gonna throw a chair at Eric Wallace. I'm gonna go to Santa Monica. I'm gonna figure out which office is his, and I'm gonna throw a chair through his window.
No, I get where you're coming from, but it's one of these where, especially with Kratos, is I don't want that character to endure any more pain for the journey.
Fucking pain. Brent, give him the pain. I want more pain. I want to see Chris Judge. I want to see Chris Judge act circles around Oscar nominees in a fucking video game.
I think he's already achieved that one.
But I want to see him do it again.
Like you said, the scene in the tent in particular, so the night before Ragnarok, and the back and forth between Kratos and Atreus, and the triumph of the animation team and how they managed to evoke the emotions that Chris Judge and the whole cast were in every single like wrinkle in Kratos' face and how he emoted through his eyes. It's beautiful, and there's so many points of beauty in this game. So from the jellyfish that come out and dance across the sky, and it
was really nice.
And it's kind of how like Mimir and Kratos, they've bonded as a duo as well over between 2018 and 2022, and Kratos for the first time is willing to open up about some of the stories of his past and regaling tales of not just about the man with the horse like he did in the first game kind of thing, but it's around all of the things that he's got up to, and he's kind of really owning up to Big Fall because he has nothing left to hide. He's giving everything for Atreus and to stop to put an end to Ragnarok kind of thing. And I, from my money, as Rahul would say, I think this is a worthy winning of the Words About Games Game of the Year.
I agree.
The GG's all around. The list
GG's,
of...
I mean, literally GG's all around.
Video games are cool. Our honorable mentions, I will say, there's not a single point of crossover between your honorable mentions. So just to wrap up about the actual Game of the Year positions 1 through to 10. So in our list of supposedly 10 games, we actually had 17 games squeezed in, and 7 of those were
next year, me and Moody are just going to divide the games industry up.
That's it.
No crossovers ever.
So let's run down some of the honorable mentions, and then feel free to talk about whichever ones you want. So maybe we've already touched on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. 2 Point Campus was another one that you came up with, along with Far Changing Tides, a Memoir Blue, Escape Academy, which is a game I actually played, and Return to Runaway. Which of those are worth a longer discussion?
All of them, really, but one I'll shout out the most is Memoir Blue.
Okay.
Just a touching story about a child and a mother. Again, like say, I'm a sucker for parents,
parental guardian
story. Yeah. And it's just it was visual storytelling that worked for me. That I understood the story, and if I can understand the story, I can get there, and it worked for me. Really, it's not that long. It's like 2 hours, 3 hours long, and everything. It's a really short game, but it's like it explains everything really well, and it was just really well done. I had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, by the end of it, I was just like, "Okay, you broke my heart, you bastard."
Can I shout out a game on Moody's honorable mentions?
Yes.
Escape Academy. That was a lot of fun.
100%.
We played that together.
That's the best way to play it. So Lauren and I played Escape Academy together, and we are in the midst of going through the first DLC pack. The Escape Island, which I'm not sure if you've got to.
No,
yet,
we didn't get that far. We streamed it for a few hours. We found out we complement each other's strengths and weaknesses when it comes to puzzle solving.
Yeah, no, 100%. So Escape Academy, if I can get my words out, was great fun, and there was ingenuity in terms of the actual mini puzzles that they were solving, and some of them are real brain twisters, and some of them you do need to kind of take a step back and look at the more macro picture of them. But obviously the story itself is more lip service. You're there for the puzzles, and you're there to try to figure out how to not only best the challenge in front of you, but also the I want to say the other student who was I want to say written, but written is a loose term.
I think we kind of skipped all the story stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a really fun game, and the DLC is holding up so far. It is definitely more challenging than the stuff even at the end game of the main Escape Academy. But it's one that I would highly recommend as well. Moody, one thing I want to touch with you was F1 Manager 2022. It made the tail end of your Game of the Year list, but it wasn't enough to make the cut.
Yeah, this is basically this is the F1 game that I played the most this year. I didn't touch the normal game I normally play. Apparently, it came out very buggy, that game. So I was just like, but also like I've spoken many times with Amy about this. Both me and Amy are like huge F1 fans and everything.
As am I.
We're still very fucking sore of the 2021 season.
Yeah.
And 2022 was such a bore fest of a season, personally, that I lost kind of interest in F1. But F1 Manager was a lot of fun, just managing the team and like doing all of, trying to coordinate with my team, and like obviously doing plans and everything. And set up strategy. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun, but just like the F1 game did, this one came out buggy as hell.
Yes.
So it was really irritating for it. If I played more games, it probably wouldn't have made my top 10 and everything. If Immortality was like good after 1 minute, I might have had it in my list and everything, but it wasn't. So F1 Manager 2022 gets in there.
Amy's rocking back and forth, trying not to get triggered.
Nah, I'm used to it.
No,
I try to trigger all the time. I always do.
Oh, good.
It's our little
the kinds of opinions he tries to put in my mouth now, I just go, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
One day he's gonna get me shot by someone who likes is a Hideo Kojima super fan.
You're gonna do that all by yourself. Don't need my
No,
help.
I'm gonna get stabbed by a Mass Effect fan.
Okay, that might be fair. Or Fallout fan.
No, I'm never gonna do that video. That's never happened. I want to live.
The Mass Effect fan who gets stabbed at will be like an Ashley's Super Stan. It'll be one of those. It'll be like with the whole motive will be like to save the space racist. It'll be
no. Well, something. Yeah, sure, but I don't know. I feel like Moody's heard some of this video, so
Well, let's go over some of your honorable mentions. So on your list, you have Vampire Survivors, Signalis. Everybody loves Power Wash Simulator. Proteus, The Case of the Golden Idol, I Was the Teenage Iconologist, Strange Horticulture, Splatoon 3, The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow, and Letters, A Written Adventure. Yeah.
It's the most Yorkshire thing that's ever happened. I do want to say that Hobbs Barrow, it's the most Yorkshire thing that's ever happened to me, and I lived in Yorkshire for 4 years.
There you go.
Yeah,
I mean, inside.
Yeah, no, I mean they're all awesome. They're all good games. Just not, you gotta cut games out to get to narrow it down to 10. Signalis is probably like a one I'd shout out from that list. Just over the other ones, just because it's a fucking great survival horror game.
Yeah.
It's a proper throwback to your sort of Resident Evil, Silent Hills, putting that isometric camera. And it's got that weird, surreal story telling where you're not really sure what's real and you're not like what's actually happening. But no, it was a good time, and I enjoyed playing it a lot, and very spooky.
Great stuff. Yeah, and everybody loves Power Wash Simulator was kind of one of the darlings of the streaming space in terms of just for pure chilling out and just chatting with your friends, getting a bit of music on, and it's so cathartic. Yeah,
that's my Yu-Gi-Oh style game where it's like, I think I watched Star Trek Strange New Worlds and then I rewatched it, but I rewatched it while I was playing Power Wash Simulator.
Great stuff. Let's touch on some games that we're excited about for this year of 2023. If I may, let's go through some of mine. So there's not going to be the most random suggestions, but outside of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, we have titles such as Marvel Spider-Man 2, which I know Moody has at the top of their list. I believe in Square Enix that they will release Final Fantasy VII Rebirth this year. I don't know how much I believe myself, but I believe it enough that I want to.
You want to believe?
Yes, it's one of those. Forza Motorsport is the next one up, and then Gran Turismo 7 VR. So I'm not saying that I'm going to buy PSVR 2, but I'm interested to see what the actual experience. And it looks to be all of the content of GT7 from the 30 seconds or so we saw at the CES. But yeah, I'll be interested to see if they actually bring some more content to racing in VR. So it's one of these where it's all very well having the full game in VR, but if it's the same races that I've already completed and already won, then where's the value in that, as opposed to just experience it in a whole new dimension? I know that sounds cheap. So, just a whole new dimension. What's that worth? But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens there. Viewfinder was one that I also had my eye on this year. So this was, I believe, shown off at the Game Awards, where it's a game where essentially you're walking around with various different pictures, and as you hold them up towards the landscape, they become real objects in that environment. Sea of Stars, Party Animals, and then a game that I'm going to bravely watch somebody else play is Resident Evil 4 Remake. So
he's going to watch me play. He's going to watch 100%. Me play.
So I don't do well with the scary games, which is why I
neither do I. That's why I stream them.
That's it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they modernize that game, or if it's going to be a shot-for-shot remake. I know a lot of the kind of quirkiness is part of the charm of Leon Kennedy and his Backstreet Boy ways of suplexing everybody to end them, kind of thing. And then the other thing is more Final Fantasy 14. I'm in love with that game, and I don't think that's ever going to stop.
In the trailer for Resident Evil 4 Remake, he blocks a chainsaw with a knife. So it's definitely going to be Resident Evil 4.
Awesome. They found what worked in Village. Village was a massive success for them. It had that right mixture of a bit of a horror, but also that cheesiness and everything. And that's what they're going back for. People, hardcore Resi fans may not like that and everything like that, and that's fine. You've still got the Resi 2 and Resi
I'm a
3 and
hardcore
everything.
Resi fan. And I liked Village.
No, 100%.
I especially liked when it turned into Metal Gear Solid for half an hour.
And Call of Duty at the end.
And Call of Duty at the end.
Yeah.
And for all the, we're talking about how they might streamline some of the quirkiness out of it, we're still going to be chasing Baby George Washington through his weird castle for like a couple of hours. They're not going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
On the court.
Why not?
Yeah. Amy, at the top of your list, on brand, very much so, Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Can I get a 4 years running?
Also at the top of your list, we have Mask of the Rose, Slay the Princess, Thirsty Suitors, and then Alan Wake 2 before such heavy hitters as Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Fire Emblem Engage, and Fall of the Porcupine. That's a stellar list, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say anything else about. I've said all the words. I've said all the words possible for Hollow Knight and Silk Song. Mask of the Rose is going to be a cool, well-written game because it's written by the guys who did Sunless Sea and Sunless Skies. And Slay the Princess is a Stanley Parable if it was a horror game, but still funny. We just talked about Resident Evil 4 and Final Fantasy VII. Star Wars.
Yeah, interested. So I played.
Very excited.
I played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, although I keep calling it Fallen over for my own comedic sensibilities. For me, that game came out, and at least on the PS4 full version I was playing it on, it came out buggy and broken, and I tried to play it on easy just to blast through the story. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan by any stretch of the imagination, kind of thing. And
I used to be.
EA didn't even go to the trouble of opening up the timing windows for parries, even on the easiest difficulty setting. And for me, it's just like a cardinal sin.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So it was still, you had like literally a tenth of a second to hit your parry window in order to do that. And the whole thing was, you're supposed to be a Jedi Knight. You got your lightsaber and you're supposed to be parrying left, right, and center kind of thing. But so I have zero faith that EA is going to release this one in a better state.
I think you'll find he's a Jedi Survivor, Moody.
Spoilers. he may survive this one, but obviously, a lot of my friends are diehard Star Wars fans, and I really hope that this game is amazing for them. But it will be one that I'm happy to watch somebody else play, but it's not something that I'm going to drop £70 or $70 on.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And I was excited for Fallen Order, but I was like you, Vitz, that it was buggy. And it sucked me out of the game. And there's also a level, I can't remember which one it is, that was just really fucking annoying in it.
But hey, look at all the ponchos you could get in all the different colors.
Don't fucking stop, man. I went out of my way to get so many fucking things, like hidden things in the map, and it was fucking ponchos in every single box. Like, fuck off, man. Yeah. I'm a Jedi.
But I did enjoy the story, like the Clone Wars, like Order 66 story. It impacted so many people, and to be able to see that and still be fresh and work in so many ways, I think it's really, really good, because they've just redone that like a couple of years ago at 2020, I think, or 2021, with the final season of Clone Wars. Like they get to Order 66, and it's coming and everything. It's amazing. It's so fucking amazing. And that's why I think that the character works for this game. But at the same time, like I say, it was just very buggy, and it was all just very samey for me. I was just like, finally, the fans have got a game they enjoyed, but I thought it was just good. I never thought it was great or awesome. I'm hoping this one's going to be the evolution of that, where I'm going to be coming back to them saying, this is the game we should have got when it came out in Fallen Order, and this is my hope for it. Respawn a great studio. They bring out great games. So I remember when it was the pandemic and its hype, me and Fairwald smashed Apex Legends over and over and over again for like
You really
6
did.
months, and it was great, and we had so much fun with that. And I'm excited to see what they can do with this.
I think that's the thing about first games in series in general, right? It's like you find out what works and you find out what doesn't, and then you iterate and refine. If you're a good studio, you iterate and refine on it, and then you make an even better sequel.
Hope so.
Like for me, in terms of the story, like I've been sort of about Star Wars, since Rise of Skywalker.
That's fair.
But like in terms of being a fan. Like, I'm a fan of the story of Jedi Fallen Order, so I'm really looking forward to this, and I really need to watch Andor because that looked amazing.
My God, Amy, you would love it.
It's on my list. I've seen.
You've got a big.
I've seen
list.
stuff. No, but I've also got 11 days off. So yeah. But yeah, like it's a story I want to see more of. It's the characters I want to see more of. And yeah, I didn't get hit by as many bugs as you two, I guess. Like I definitely had glitches and stuff, but never to the detriment of my experience. Apart from this one time where a boss didn't spawn.
I know.
That
So we had a few.
That,
So we had like the bounty hunters coming up, and they were saying, "Oh, we're going to chop you in pieces," and then they'd just fly off the map, and then okay,
no, not
hi,
like
Felicia.
that. I didn't fight the first boss just because it didn't spawn in. It was the AT-AT or the little walker thing, and I just never got to fight it. But I just kept going. Like I was like, okay.
Now, I remember for me, one of the Sonic the Hedgehog slides.
Those were so stupid.
That bugged out for me, and I just kept falling off.
I really hope
that was the level.
Enough
I think that was
of
the level that annoyed me the most.
Let's throw back to some positivity with Moody's most anticipated games of 2023. Let's do this, my friend. So at number 1, you have Spider-Man 2, then followed by The Plucky Squire. We have Dead Space Remake, Like a Dragon, Ishin. We have Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We have Planet Alana, The Expanse, The Wolf Among Us 2, Replaced, and finally Aliens Dark Descent.
I just want to point out Spider-Man 2 totally wasn't not on my list because I forgot it was coming out. That's not what happened.
For Spider-Man 2. I'm interested to see what happens next in Peter Miles' story, what they're going to do with obviously Venom, and then all the other surprises that we don't even know about, because I think we've seen very little of that game. And Insomniac.
Good.
Sorry? Yeah, good. No, 100%. And I'm excited to go through and obviously we don't know what the actual mechanics are of switching between the Spider-Men, or whether there'll be extra Spider Peoples to...
Is that confirmed that you will be playing as both?
Yes. So I think Insomniac have said, you'll be playing as both of them, but there is no co-op in terms of...
It'll be switching back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
Not like in a button. I feel like it'll be like this part of the game is where you're playing as Peter, like God of War.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yes, I believe it's similar, but hopefully we'll have less of the MJ stealth sections, which were never fun in the first game, and Screwball will have less of their challenges as well, because they were never fun for me as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that game is received critically. I think I have it in one of the fantasy leagues that I'm in, and so I need that to do. Yeah, 100%. And
I mean, sorry, we haven't done a critic draft yet. No, that's next week. What am I talking about?
That's it. But yeah, Moody, what else is speaking to you from your list?
Oh God, jeez, there's so many. I'll say what I said on our previous video, which you'll see next week. Plucky Squire. I think that's going to be.
That's the one.
Darling of the year.
Indie game. Yeah,
I think that's going to be the darling. That's going to be the indie darling. But I think that's going to be an indie darling where everyone's going to be like, don't know how we not put this at number in our top 3, if not number 1 or 2.
Wow.
At the end of it, I think it's the thing that's screaming for me is that it's multiple different mechanics, and if they nail that, everyone's going to fall in love with this game. By far, by a country mile. Everyone fell in love with It Takes Two. Like, it was in my top 10
Lauren and I
game.
sure did.
It didn't work story-wise.
I also
for both
enjoyed
me and
It
Amy.
Takes Two.
Yeah.
It Takes Two. It sure didn't drag any drama up for me live on Twitch.
Yeah, and it's they did such a great job mechanically wise for that, and I think if Plucky Squire does that, it's going to be absolutely incredible. It's
fantastic.
It was the game everyone was talking about by the end of E3 or whatever what that was.
Oh yeah, that was the
Jeff
game,
Keighley's
right?
thing.
Like
no one else was talking about Jeff Keighley's shitty thing and the other stuff. It was just that when Devolver Digital showed their thing and they showed this game, everyone was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, I saw everyone on Twitter like losing their shit. Like everyone with good taste in games. I mean, you know, like you were losing your shit. I was losing my shit. I mean, Carl was losing his shit as well. Carl Stevenson. It's just a good reveal. You know, we should stream it. Now that I'm prepared for now that I know what happens in It Takes Two, we should finish that game. I mean, we probably have to restart it at this point.
I don't think I've been bothered. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, okay. I was enjoying it immensely.
I'm very interested to see.
We can have a look at it.
I'm very interested to see what the head-to-head scores were between the two of you in the games where you actually competed against each other.
It was pretty even.
I won one, and we were pretty even, weren't we?
Okay.
And then we drew at chess, and there's a clip on YouTube of me complaining about how the fuck you can draw at chess. It's chess.
Especially as I had no idea what the rules were of chess.
And I was going to say neither of us knew how to play chess.
And we drew. I think I was like, I've seen Queen's Gambit. This is what you do. You look up into the sky and just imagine it.
That's it. You take some drugs and you look up, right?
Drugs, alcohol, the whole fucking thing. Yeah. We're looking at
drugs are bad, kids.
I want to shout one more if that's possible on my end.
Yeah, go for it.
That's just because I'm the biggest fan of the franchise. I don't know what we're looking for, what's going to happen with it, but it's XCOM and it's Aliens. I can't ask for much more than that. There's a reaction of me for this game reveal, and it's the only exciting time I got excited at Jeff Keighley's thing. Amy was like a second or two ahead of me, and she was like,
"No, as soon as I
screen."
For whatever happened, for whatever reason, as soon as I saw 20th Fox come up, and you can see it in the stream, like I'm like looking at he's watching the thing, and I'm looking at his camera.
Just look at his reaction.
I'm like, this is going to be an alien thing. I don't know how I knew it was going to be an alien thing, but I was like, he's going to lose his shit.
Fox instantly,
this is what I need to watch, and I was like watching him, and he just started losing it.
I did lose it a little bit. But the funny thing is that by the end of it, I was like, "Oh no! What type of game is this? No!" And then I was like, but then I found out more about it. It's an XCOM game, and I was thinking, XCOM games are fucking awesome. So you put that with Aliens. What can go bad? What can go
Everything.
wrong? Shut up,
Everything. It's game over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
No, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So that has been your Word About Games Game of the Year discussion. Amy, let's get to some Open Cricket head-to-head.
Open Critic head-to-head. Moody, do you want to say anything about last year's results? We handed things back.
I won, motherfuckers. That's all you need to know.
Leaders out there.
Just doing a thing here. I'll give you a little round of applause. I tried to make it as interesting as possible from being 10 points behind. I got close, but hey, these things happen. Close. I did get very close. Even I was like, it's gonna end eventually, right? This streak's gonna end eventually, and it did.
The last match, the last
one. Well, because we drew on purpose the week before.
yeah, because we're trying to will Alf to lose.
We were trying to get you into second place on Fantasy Critic, and it didn't happen. Manifesting can only go so far, apparently.
We did it went the wrong way.
So this is Open Critic head-to-head. This is a game that we play every week, where we try to guess the Open Critic average of usually one upcoming game, sometimes more. And whoever guesses closest to the score gets a point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. I'm having to readjust how I think about how we're doing this now, because we've moved the podcast publishing date from a Monday to a Friday. And a Friday is when a lot of games come out. So we're going to be doing things a little bit early. And also we We didn't do one on next week's podcast. I mean, we're not going to do one on next week's podcast, which we totally don't already have recorded. So we're going to do 2 this week. And the first one, as Moody frantically looks up open critic scores of previous games in the series, is Fire Emblem Engage. Actually, no, Moody, you don't get to go first this time. You're the champ. You get to go second from now.
That's fine. That's fine.
Vitz.
I am A-okay with this.
What do you think?
So, from what so my understanding of Fire Emblem Engage, it is the next in the mainline series of Fire Emblem. From what we hear, it's people aren't as hot on it as they were about going into 3 houses. However, I still think it's going to review really, really well. I'm going to put it down as a 87.
Cool. That leaves my number wide open. 88 never fails.
There you go.
I'm bringing that back from 2021, really. 88 never fails. Remember that?
85.
Ooh, okay.
I've heard the things you've heard as well, Fitz. They aren't as high on this compared to what 3 houses is.
Oh, is this the same thing as, there's going to be a Nintendo Switch Pro? Oh, Silent Hill's going to get announced tomorrow. Oh, just from those places.
If they introduce a character like Claude and how hot he was in 3 houses, if they introduce
Isn't Claude in this? I'm sure Claude's in this because this is a crossover time travel thing. Like there's characters from past Fire Emblems in this game. I think Claude's already
I'm still going to keep my score. It's locked in now. I'm not going to put it.
Claude out of 10.
Yeah, that's it. The byline is Claude is in this one too.
Everyone can argue over whether Edelgard is really hot or, a Nazi. But we're also going to guess the open critic average of
both.
Dead Space. I mean, yeah. That's where I landed. We're also going to guess the open critic average of the Dead Space remake.
Ooh.
And we'll do it in the same order. Fits.
Okay.
Dead Space, but in 2023.
So, I'm going to rate this a little bit lower because I think for as competent as the remake's going to be, and it's going to, I think it's going to be the same skeleton, just with new flesh on it kind of thing in terms of, right, it looks shiny and looks prettier and all the rest of it. I'm going to put this down as a 77.
Okay. For me, it all comes down to the gameplay. I watched Moody stream this. Was it last year or the year before? 2 years. It was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Or was it last year? It might have been in the beginning of last year.
It was the beginning of last year.
I'm with Flat Circle friends.
Either way, when I watched him play it, I watched him getting super frustrated because, Dead Space 2, fun game to play. Dead Space 1, deservedly a classic in the horror genre. Horrible controls.
Especially on PC.
Especially on PC. So, if they've, nailed the gameplay, I think it'll be there or thereabouts with what people sort of said about it back in the day, which is it's a horror classic. And amongst all the other horror classics we're getting in the first 6 months, I'm gonna go 83.
Nice. That sounds a lot more sensible than what I gave it, but
I just had to random number after 8 to see and it was 83.
Yeah. I'm going fucking high. 90.
To be fair, I did think about doing 88 never fails again and just making a meme out of it, but you do shit like 90. That, Vitz, and that's how you end up 10 points behind.
No, mine was 80 last year.
if Dead Space gets an 88, though, I'm memeing all the way through the year.
That's yeah.
90. That's fair. To be honest, I don't think people realize how good Dead Space was when it came out.
Yeah.
I think time has washed that away.
If they fix the game mechanics, it's going to be Resident Evil 2 remake all over again.
Yeah. So the reason I went a little bit lower is So I understand the critical reception of like Callisto Protocol was a bit cooler than what everybody was imagining. I know it came out with a bunch of bugs, but
yeah, that's because they tried to make 2007's Dead Space.
That's it. So, but what I'm thinking is, if people had just had a similar experience with that, is their barrier going to be kind of lower in terms of what their expectations are going in? And it's going to be like a harder mountain for Dead Space Remake to climb because they have had just a recent experience of Callisto Protocol, but we will see.
I like your logic. I definitely follow it. But like, if I'm going to tack onto that, like you could flip that on the other way, where it's like people have just played the 100%. Shit version of Dead Space. Now here's the good version of Dead Space, and that might actually kick it higher.
Wanted.
Yeah, that kicks it higher because everyone's like, "Oh, we've seen how bad it can be, and now we're playing this."
Yeah, no, 100%.
And they're giving it away. Like, if you pre-order Dead Space Remake on Steam, you get Dead Space 2 for free. So once you finish with that, you can go and play Dead Space 2, and it's a much better game to play in modern day. And very disturbing. I was there when Moody streamed that as well. I don't know what was more disturbing, the game or Moody's wanton glee at killing all of those little baby aliens. To be fair, I might have been in chat saying, yeah, fuck them up, Moody. Fuck them up.
And I obliged.
I've been known to be a bad influence from time to time. What can I say?
What can you say, Amy?
What can I say? So we'll find out. We'll find out the results of that open credit head-to-head in 2 weeks, because next week's a whole thing with 6 people in the podcast. It's great. And that's going to do it for episode 334 of the Words About Games podcast.
That sounds about right.
But Vitz, thanks. Shout out Vitz for like putting all that list stuff together for us. And
all different kinds of welcome. It's always a pleasure to be on here, hanging out with friends. And if I'm welcome, I'm more than happy to come back anytime you'll have me.
Oh, we'll have you plenty where it came out wrong. You know what I mean?
I found the video
I got the
with the Dead Space highlights. I found it.
I think it might be 2. There might be 2. The one after might have Dead Space highlights as well.
December 20. It's the March 2021.
All right. I saw it was a couple of years ago. Damn.
Yeah, it was.
Cool. Well, everybody should go watch that on youtube.com/wordsaboutgamesuk. Stick around for the podcast. Every Friday.
Remember this one, Amy. Remember this one. Amy and Moody take their Among Us rivalry to another level.
If you haven't seen that one, you should definitely watch it. It's one of the best videos I've ever made.
Yep.
It's probably one of the worst things I've ever done to Moody, but it was definitely one of the best videos I ever made. So it was
I'm going to watch it right after this because I have to.
Moody was not happy. Vitz, I'll send you the link to the video afterwards because it was a couple of years ago. Yeah, Friday. We do podcasts on Fridays now. Podcasts come out on Fridays now. Hopefully, we're going to get a lot more guests on as time goes on. Like I said, next week we have 6 people. It's hard keeping them all under control. But that's going to do it. Moody, do you have any final words of wisdom or encouragement for the week ahead?
It's 2023. It's a brand new year. Let's kick ass and have a great year. Fuck the Tories. Strike all year. Let's fucking kick ass.
Well said.
That's why I always get him to do the last bit.
Fuck Joe Medforce.
Apart from
we
that,
love Joe.
We love Joe. We love Joe Medforce. Joe Medforce is the best.
He is.
Poor opinion in films. Like, seriously, man.
Everybody's going to have flaws.
Fucking hell, man. Like, dude, my God. The trashiest film of the year.
Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Whoop me.